Something happened to you this morning. You may not have the precise words to describe it, but you felt a weight dissipating, a pressure you had been carrying for months simply evaporated, leaving a trail of silence in the place where a constant battle once raged. I did not come here by chance. I came because what you felt was no coincidence. It was the exact moment the trap set against you was undone, piece by piece, until nothing remained. I am here to tell you exactly what happened in the shadows, and why the plan they designed for your downfall has just collapsed, leaving those who architected it in the deepest desolation. By now, you have realized you are no ordinary spectator of your own life. You understand, even if intuitively, that what we are experiencing here is not merely a dialogue, but an alignment. Over the time we will spend together, you will recognize the nature of the sabotage that tried to halt your course. You will understand why doors you forced for years remain shut, and why, today, you are grateful they did not give way. And above all, I will give you the key to your new position, revealing why, from this moment on, it is too late for any move contrary to your destiny. The one who tried to bring you down did not merely fail, they stumbled into the very net they stretched for your feet. You have been feeling exhausted in a way sleep cannot fix. It is not a physical fatigue, it is an exhaustion of the soul. You have worked with a diligence few understand, giving your best, remaining loyal to principles the world around you has long abandoned, and yet the path always seemed covered by a thick fog. You have woken at strange hours of the night, with a restlessness that felt like a warning. You have seen people you considered close drift away for no reason, or worse, turn their backs the moment you most needed support. You have felt the impact of words that were never spoken, but that you heard in the tone of voice, in the gaze, in the cold distance someone imposed between you and your goal. All of this, every drop of sweat, every night of vigil, every door slammed in your face, was not a punishment. It was a filtration. The universe was clearing your path of people who would not have the necessary endurance for the harvest you are about to reap. Had those doors opened, you would have entered a place that was not yours, with companions who would have drained your essence before you reached the summit. The exhaustion you feel now is the remnant of the effort required to keep your frequency high while your environment tried to pull you down. Stop now. Take a deep breath, drawing the air into the lowest part of your chest. If you felt each of these words as a recognition, if your body reacted to this truth like someone finally taking off a tight shoe, I want you to make a small mark of alignment. The simple act of typing these 3 numbers is your way of telling the world you agree with what is happening, that you are aware of your new frequency. Your fingers typing these digits serve as a contract you seal with your own will. Type 888. And then return to me, for we have much more to cover. What you called a blockage, I call protection. You need to understand the mechanics of resistance. When something is genuinely yours, when a destiny is charted, the resistance you encounter is not to stop you from advancing, but to ensure that when you arrive, you are ready to sustain what you have received. Often, we mourn losses that were, in truth, disguised deliverance. Those who tried to conspire against your progress, who whispered against your name, or tried to create obstacles on your journey, did not realize that in doing so, they merely served as the wind that pushed your sails. They operate from a deep lack, a need for control born of a total disconnection from their own mission. They tried to bring you down because your light, however contained, illuminated the shadows they tried to hide from themselves. It is an ancient phenomenon. Those who cannot rise try to pull the other down to their level. But in trying to bring you down, they did not realize you were not on solid ground. You were in the process of ascent. Now the scene has changed. The timing of the universe's response is not the same as the timing of men. What they planted, the harvest they prepared for you, is returning to them, and what is most painful for them, and a relief for you, is that the moment of return has already begun. They look back and see they no longer have power over your next step. They have realized too late that the trap has become the maze where they themselves are trapped, unable to find the exit while you walk toward the freedom that was always promised to you. You are detaching from what does not serve you, and this detachment is the first sign of your great turn. What comes next is the revelation of the structure built in your favor, something no human plan could have prevented. The lack that motivated this sabotage is, in truth, a bottomless pit. Those who tried to architect your downfall did not act from strength, but from a paralyzing fear that if you grew, their mediocrity would become unsustainable. They looked at your trajectory and saw a clarity they never possessed, a conviction that nauseated them. Their plan was drawn in the sand, hoping the tide of your life would be low, not realizing you were being guided by deep waters. They watched you not out of admiration, but from a compulsive need to measure your progress against their own stagnation. And now, that same energy they projected outward in an attempt to divert you from your path is returning to the center of their being. They are consumed by their own strategy, entangled in the web of intentions that did not have the effect they expected. It is a silent justice, a law that needs no courts or witnesses because it operates at the level of frequency. Imagine for a moment the image of a walled garden. For months, you felt as if you were living in an isolated space, surrounded by high walls that seemed to block the view of the horizon. You felt alone, disconnected from the routes you used to travel, as if life had placed a barrier between you and the results you sought. It seemed like exile. It seemed like a punishment. But what you did not understand at the time, and what now reveals itself with an almost painful clarity, is that Garden was not built to imprison you. It was built to be your shelter. While you were inside, feeling the weight of isolation, life was preparing the ground, removing pests, nourishing the soil, and protecting the seeds that could only germinate in an environment of absolute peace. The wall you saw as a containment fence was, in truth, a protection against the stormy wind that would have destroyed what you did not yet have the strength to carry. You were kept in silence so you could learn to listen to your own essence. Take a deep breath now. Let this image of the walled garden settle in your chest. If something within you has just aligned, if the understanding that your isolation was in fact a divine preparation, has touched a place you could not explain, I want you to record it. It is not just a phrase, it is a recognition of your presence in the now, a seal you place upon this revelation so it does not get lost in forgetfulness. Your readiness is the only tool necessary for the next phase. Type "I am here" and then return to me, for the revelation continues. What they did not understand is that the universe's timing has changed sides. A reversal is happening at this very moment. Those who planned your downfall, who sat at secret tables to architect obstacles in your destiny, have discovered too late that time is not their ally. They are racing against a clock that has stopped for them, but accelerated for you. Their plan of sabotage not only failed, it became the fuel for your own ascent. They look at your success or your growing peace and realize they no longer have reach. The control they believed they exerted over your life was an illusion that dissolved the moment you accepted your own truth. Now their silence is the recognition of their own defeat. They have no more words, no more strategies, no more power. You do not need to look back because they are no longer following your steps. They have been left behind, caught in their own traps, while you walk into an open field where the harvest is plentiful and resistance is non-existent. If this message is resonating with what you have felt in your spirit these past days, if you recognize that this process of filtration was necessary to get here, allow your agreement to happen silently. Let your like be your wordless amen. Not as a count, not as a number on a screen, but as a gesture from one who agrees the truth has been spoken. It is your seal of spiritual validation. The simple act of touching the like button is your way of declaring, without having to say a word, that you accept this moment of transition and that your soul recognizes what has been unveiled. Stay with me, for what is to come will solidify your position. There is someone in your circle, perhaps someone you observe from afar, or someone who has walked by your side, who carries exactly this same mark of resistance that you carried. This person has remained in a profound silence, guarding pains no one around can notice, working with a quiet dedication while the doors seem to remain locked. That person's face just appeared in your mind as we spoke. You felt the urgency to deliver this recognition. That person who overflows with a resilient strength, who displays an almost invisible patience and carries the weariness of one about to cross a threshold. That person needs to be reached by this message. Do not send it as a common suggestion, but as a designated delivery. Just as this moment found you through a spiritual appointment that was no accident, send this content so they too can understand the meaning of the filtration they are living through. It is an act of care, a ministry of recognition you exercise by opening this channel for the one who needs it most. Breathe now, allowing the clarity of this moment to establish itself firmly. You spent years trying to decipher the code of a path that was always simpler than your mind allowed you to believe. Before we move on to the close of this transmission, we need to fix your place. You are no longer in the position of one who waits or who fears the sabotage of others. You have assumed your position of authority over your own destiny. Do not write as one who asks, but as one who signs a deed of possession. It is the final confirmation of your new position, the seal you imprint upon your own soul, declaring that the time of doubt is over and that your new time, the time of fullness, has begun. Type slowly, feeling the weight of each letter, allowing your fingers to confirm what your spirit has already declared in the silence of your prayer. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed to the truth that now flows through each of your decisions, with no more detours to meet the expectations of those who never understood your purpose. You are commissioned to be a beacon of lucidity in a world that tries, at all costs, to obscure the vision of those who carry a seed of change. You are sent to walk with the authority of one who no longer needs external approval, for your legitimacy is born from the very foundation you now inhabit with total clarity. You felt the weight of a trap being undone this morning, even without understanding the cause. There was something in the air, a tension that seemed to be there to restrict your step, but which, suddenly, lost all its strength. You woke with the feeling that the scene had changed. It is not just an intuition, it is the clear perception that the ground you walk on has become firm again. What was architected to bring you down, what was drawn in the silence of the backstage to delay your flourishing, found its own limit. There is a hidden nature to the sabotage you faced, and it is exactly about this inevitable collapse that we will speak now. Throughout our conversation, you will recognize the exact mechanics of why doors closed for you in the past. You will understand why certain people who seemed like fundamental pieces were removed from your board. And, more importantly, you will receive clarity about the exact moment the game turned in your favor. The plan against you did not merely fail, it imploded from within because it was not built on truth, but on lack and the desperate attempt to sustain a position that never belonged to them. You have been living days of an exhaustion that does not come from physical work. It is a fatigue of the soul caused by the constant vigilance of one who awaits the next blow. You have noticed that conversations have lost their shine, that environments that once seemed welcoming now sound hollow, and that your energy seems to drain when trying to explain things that, to others, seem invisible. This is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is the result of your spirit operating at a frequency your surroundings cannot yet tune into. The doors that were locked in your face were not rejections. They were protective barriers. Had you passed through them, you would have been stuck in a cycle that was not yours. If you feel this recognition has just touched a deep place, if you feel your shoulders have finally relaxed, I want you to pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and bring your awareness to the now. This gesture is not just a keystroke. It is your signature of alignment with the frequency of the harvest that is arriving. It is your agreement with the fact that what was prevented was not a loss, but a necessary deliverance. Type 888, and then return to our connection. What you called an obstacle was, in truth, a filter. The universe, in its silent wisdom, acted so you would not waste your resources on infertile soil. Those who tried to plan your downfall, who dedicated time and effort to architect your failure, operated from a hunger that will never be satisfied. Sabotage is the last resort of those who have no light of their own. They looked at your path and tried to build walls, not realizing they were merely delineating the space where your harvest would grow protected from the wind. Now, that effort has turned against them. The energy they spent trying to bring you down is the same energy that keeps them stuck in the past, while you move freely into the future. Imagine a walled garden that for a long time you only saw from the outside. You thought the wall was a prison made to keep you away from beauty. But looking closely with the eyes of lucidity, you realize the wall was raised to protect the rare seeds you carry. The isolation you felt was not loneliness. It was the time of preparation, the moment when the soil needed rest so your harvest could be plentiful. What was planned to be your end became, through a movement only time reveals, your refuge. The wall does not prevent your exit. It prevents the pests of mediocrity from reaching what is being cultivated within you. Let this recognition settle as a landmark, as proof that you are no longer wandering, but rooted in your purpose. Type these 3 words with the conviction of one who has finally taken their place. It is too late for them, because the universe's timing of response has changed sides. While they were still looking back, trying to understand why the plan failed, you were already taking the next step. They expected you to react, to defend yourself, to wear yourself out in conflicts that no longer belonged to you, but you did not give them what they wanted. You remained steady, focused on your growth, and that is the only response they could not predict. Sabotage loses its power when the victim refuses to enter the crime scene, and you, by choosing peace and alignment, nullified the effectiveness of any plot. If this understanding echoes as a truth you always knew but needed to hear, allow your like to be your wordless amen. It is not about metrics. It is about a pact of spiritual agreement. It is like saying that yes, what was named here is the reality you are living. Let this simple gesture confirm what your intuition had already grasped. There is someone in your life who needs to hear this message today. Someone you know who has been going through an inexplicable fatigue, who has worked with dedication but feels they are walking against the wind. Someone who bears the mark of an integrity no one else notices. That person appeared in your mind while I was speaking, didn't they? Do not keep this just for yourself. Send this content as a form of care, as a sign that the light is reaching them too. It is not a social recommendation, it is an act of ministry. You are delivering the key they need to stop fighting against what has already, by right, been given to them. They observed your steps, waited for your stumble, and monitored every silence of yours, believing the absence of your reaction was a sign of weakness, but they could not see the structure strengthening within you. Their mistake was measuring your depth by the surface, without understanding that while they invested energy in backstage schemes, you were being aligned with a purpose that does not depend on any man's permission. Sabotage, by nature, is an attempt to divert the flow, but what they did not notice is that in trying to force your fall, they only accelerated your transition to the next level. Their failure was not a coincidence. It was the inevitable consequence of a system of justice that operates at a frequency they cannot tune into. You felt this relief coursing through your being, as if a knot, which you did not even know was tight, had been undone by invisible hands. It is as if the dust of a hard road had finally settled, revealing that your route was never the one they tried to impose. They tried to dictate your pace, tried to draw your limit, but your destiny is greater than any siege. Their plan collapsed because it was built on the premise that you would remain static, that you would accept the narrative of defeat. Yet your response was the silence of growth, the quietness of one who knows they need not explain themselves to those who have already decided not to understand you. Now notice how things start to move without you needing to force the path. The people who do not resonate with the same honesty as you are withdrawing, not by chance, but by a natural filtration that occurs when the light increases. Do not feel sorrow for these absences. The space they leave is the place where your new reality will settle. Each one who steps away carries with them a weight you no longer need to bear. What seemed like abandonment is, in truth, a divine curation of your surroundings. They leave because your new stature no longer fits inside the box they designed for you. It is too late for them, because you no longer dwell on the same plane of desperation and comparison. Your resistance was the fuel that transformed pressure into polish. When you decided not to seek revenge, when you decided not to stoop to the level of petty schemes, you broke the cycle they expected to maintain forever. The betrayer who tried to bring you down is now lost in the very labyrinth they built to trap you. They are busy trying to understand why the doors they closed on you opened in a place they didn't even know existed. They are stuck analyzing a past you have already overcome. While they insist on the mistake, you are already harvesting the fruits of a maturity they will never know how to cultivate. Feel this security emanating from within. It is not arrogance, it is the certainty that your path is protected. You need not worry about the eyes that watch you, for what they see is only the shell, the appearance of what you used to be. What you have become now is invisible to those who still live in spiritual scarcity. You are being guided by a hand that makes no mistakes and is not intimidated by human maneuvers. Before we proceed to the closing, I ask that you write in the comments the phrase, "I am the chosen one." Do this not as a request, but as a record, a declaration that you assume your position of authority over your own story. Type that phrase now, feeling each letter as the definitive seal of your stance, and know that this is the landmark that divides what has passed from what is being born. You are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent. From today, your voice carries an authority that did not exist before, and your steps follow a cadence no obstacle can stop. You are no longer running after acceptance. You are operating from the authority of one who has understood that your place has already been reserved. There are people in your life, someone whose face just came to your mind as we speak, who carry exactly that same mark of resistance. Someone who has been working in silence, someone who has been misunderstood by those who only see the surface of the journey, someone who feels the weariness of an invisible battle. Send this message to that person. Do not do it as one who recommends content or suggests a distraction. Do it as one who delivers a key. There is a mission of care that runs through your reach, and the fact that this person has surfaced in your memory now is no coincidence. It is confirmation that you are a channel for the restoration that began here. If anything in this message, if any of these words touch the deepest fiber of your truth, let your gesture of liking be your wordless amen. Not as a symbol of approval for systems or algorithms, but as a silent record, an acknowledgement between your spirit and the truth that was named here. It is an invisible seal you place upon what has been understood. Take a deep breath now, releasing all the air accumulated in your shoulders. You are ready for the new cycle. You are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent. Your walk is no longer a solitary effort, but a journey sustained by the purpose you have finally accepted. Every step you take from here on will carry the weight of an authority that needs no explanation, only to be lived. What was planned to knock you down served only to position you at the correct altitude for your harvest. The traps that were set were disarmed by your silence and your constancy. Right now, all across the world, others are receiving this same recognition tonight. You are part of something that does not announce itself, and that is exactly why it is real.